to be talking about today is modifying our background image. So you have a template, you either need to, that template has changed and either pages have been added to it, or maybe pages have been removed from it and you need to take out pages from your template. Or maybe you need to go in and rearrange the order of the pages in your existing template. So those are all the things that we're going to be looking at. And to start, so in this particular use case, I have right now in our demo template, I have a single page document. So an employee asset request. This is what it looks like from the end user or the form completer side. And now I'm going to open up the template in the builder. So you can see it's one page. We're going to modify the background image. So this one form has now expanded and is 3 pages instead of 1 page. So there's a couple ways that you can get there. One way is by clicking on options and going to styles and just uploading from a file on your computer, uploading a file.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, Scott. I just want to interject when you've got the screen here. I was for everybody because this is something they're going to see in their banner, a message as of yesterday. So that form, for instance, in your demo is default or it's showing full screen. So the form, even though it might have originally been a PDF or a Word document, it's showing on the full screen. And the screen that you're here exactly right now, you see that I wanted to make sure that all the builders here on the call know that there is this control here between full screen and page view, and page view is usually a better choice, and that we are now defaulting new forms like this to page view. So you can change it back to full screen if you want, but page view is typically a nicer presentation. So you could even change it, Ashley, if you wanted for your demo. You could change it to page view and they'll be able to see the form better on the screen. Because it's a nicer presentation. So yeah, if you refresh that, this is the full screen version, but here's page view, which has a nice page outline and shadow, and it looks more like the PDFs or the Word documents that it replaces. So you, as form engine builders and users, have that option. What you're going to see when you do new static templates, when you create new static templates, starting I think yesterday, they're going to default to page view. So they're going to show for your users unless you change it in that kind of page view. So Ashley, I just want to throw that in because you were right there on that screen.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. And to build on what Scott was saying, so yesterday we had a big release for new features for Form Engine. So I will be sending out an email either Friday or Monday morning calling out what those features are. And then next week there will be another, during office hours, another presentation to share with you guys how to access those, what it looks like, so that you can see it in action. So we've got a lot of features that we've been working on for the last couple of weeks and months, and now they've all been tested and we're releasing them, and so we want to get those in front of you guys. So just know that we're going to be sharing those and rolling those things out. Going back to options. So Scott called out the display mode. I am also going to call out, before we get into actually modifying this template, there is a new feature that was part of yesterday's release called versions. And so this is going to tie into the demo today, but before I started making modifications, I wanted to share it with you. So with versions, you have the ability to decide if a modified template is going to be saved as a version. And then instead of, several of you have mentioned in the past, we had a form change and then, someone outside of your control decided, oh, nope, we need to revert back. Or they wanted to change it to another template that was much more similar to a previous template, but that content was lost because you changed the background, or you changed fields. We're now going to hold on to that history. So you have the ability to, go back and say, oh, I just need to revert this template all the way back to its original version. And because you're doing it here, you're not going to have to save as, if you will, your URL links or your QR codes. All of those will automatically update once you've selected that new version. So I wanted you guys to see this because it's going to grow as we make these modifications to the background. So you can see now we have 2, and then at the end, we'll go in and see what it looks like to actually change and revert back to a previous version. Now, going back to changing the background of this image. So one option is to go through options, the option button. The other, and this is where I'm going to work from today, is just right-clicking anywhere on your template and having this menu bar or menu box show up. And click on Change Background, and we are going to be going through all of these. So Change Background, it's taking you right back to the options. And I'm going to select my new template. So this template is going to take the background image from 1 page to 3 pages. Click Open. Are you sure you wish to replace the template? You will, this will rebuild all pages with a selected file. That's just a warning to let you know, hey, you are changing the background. And it's taking a minute. It doesn't help that I'm sharing my screen. So now you can see our scroll bar has gotten smaller. There's page 1, page 2, and page 3. So to start with, that is how you change the background image. And a couple of things that I will call out here before we move on to the next piece is when you are changing a background image, the number of pages in your new template, your new background image, need to either equal the number of pages in your existing template or be greater. So for instance, if I tried to change this background image to a template that was only 2 pages, I would get an error message and I would not be allowed to do that. So if you have a template where the number of pages is expanding or equal, this is the way in which you're going to go about that. Also, make sure, and this is key, make sure that, so if I was switching this template out to another 3-page template, and maybe pages 2 and 3 completely changed, I would want to make sure that my first page was in the same order as the first page here. It's not the end of the world, but what you would see is that these fields would stay here, but whatever your template for that first page is would be different. So you would just have to replace your fields on the new background image. Again, not a deal breaker, and I'll show you guys here in just a little bit what that looks like. But just kind of know if the order of your pages has changed, those fields are not going to follow because they don't know to follow. So just a couple of points on changing the background image and expanding the number of pages. So next is moving, the ability to move or reorganize your template, the pages of your template. So you have two different options here. First option is you can simply move up or down. So we're on the first page. The only option you see is move down. If we scroll to our second page and right click, you're going to see the ability to move up or move down. So if I say, hey, I want to take this second page and I want to move it to the top. Now that second page is my first page. And then the other option here is to actually be able, so if you have a document that has multiple pages and you need to swap a page. So in this case, we're going to say we need to swap the first page with the third page. Then what you can do is say, hey, I want to make this first page my third page, and we're going to swap. So now you can see if we scroll all the way to the top, my third page is now my first. I still have my original template or my original page here. And what was my first page is now my third. If you choose not to swap, so if you just say, I want to make my first page, I want to make this my third, and just click apply, then it's just going to put it at the bottom and stack the other pages on top. So that is how you would go about reorganizing the order of your template. And I'm going to pause here and ask, does anyone have any questions? Okay. So let me make a change. And I am going to move this first page to the bottom, save, and going back to versions, you can see I now have a new version. We're just going to keep that in mind for towards the end of the demo. Okay. The next thing that we're going to cover is if you need to remove fields. So let's do, give me a second and I will set this up. This is going to demonstrate what it looks like if you upload a background or change a background template and your new template did not fall in order with your new background image. So here you can see my first page is this direct deposit, and I've got 3 fields on here. My last page is this employee asset, and that's where majority of my fields live. So we're going to go and click change background image. Showing you guys what it looks like if I try to upload a background image where the pages in my new template are less than the number of pages that I currently have. So this particular template has 2 pages. Click open. Do you wish to replace? Yes. And then we should, yep, error. The page count is 2 for the new, the page count 2 for the new template does not match the original 3. So it did not take. So that's what that looks like. Now, if I go back and I select my template that has 3 pages. So this template will have that employee asset page as the first page. Okay. Template update successful. So now you can see, and this is what I was talking about, if you have some pages within your new template that are the same and you want those fields to carry over, then make sure they're in order with your current template, because the fields will not, the fields from the 3rd page did not know and do not know, and they will not know that they are now on top. So not a big deal. I want to just go in, and instead of clicking on each one of these fields, I just want to go in and say remove page fields. Are you sure you want to remove the fields in this page 1? Yes. And I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to say remove page fields. Are you sure you want to remove the fields from page 3? Yes, I am. I click save, and it's going to tell me that I have some issues. Click save. And now let's go back to versions. And I'm going to select that second version, or that second version. Click restore. So this is asking, for starters, it's telling us, hey, we're going to go back to the second version. Do you want to save a copy of the current template as another version? The answer in this particular use case is no. This template is blank. I've removed all the fields. It serves no purpose. So I'm going to uncheck this box. So now it's saying, hey, we're just going to wipe out what you currently have as a template, and we're going to restore version 2. And it didn't like it because I didn't have any fields on there. So I completely wiped out my demo. That's what happens sometimes. All right. Give me just a second.
While you're working on that, Ashley, I'll just point out, or I'll just add to the others. I think this versioning, we think this can be pretty powerful functionality for you. And as you get into more mature form engine use and use cases, and you're building dozens or getting into hundreds of forms, and changes to those forms in production, sometimes there can be a mistake. Sometimes there can just be a change of mind. You say you wanted it to be like, you wanted it to be like this, and then saved it, it's working, and then you say, no, we got to go back to the previous version. We didn't have a way to do that for you without keeping a ton of save ases. So and making you in some ways think into the future, future proof, right? So we're trying to again add some functionality here that it's going to serve you as you do more, but also it turns out to be very important functionality for some things that we're going to release in the next month or 2. So I'll just leave it at that. Go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. So note, learning from my errors and my mistakes, always make sure you have at least a field on your template. But going back to the options that you have available in this menu box, you do have the ability to remove all the fields on a page if ever you're in a situation where that applies. So while Scott was talking, I went ahead and updated the background image so that I have all 3 of my pages. So the last piece of this is going to be removing a page. Zoya, this is one of the things that we were talking about. So just calling that out for you.
Yeah.
So you have a template, it has 10 pages. You need to maybe split that template into 2 different templates. This is how you would go about doing it. So first, in an instance where you need to split a template into 2 different templates, I would go in and I would click Save As. That's going to allow you to have 2 different templates or 2 different copies, or however many you need. Maybe you have a template that has 15 pages and you need to break it up into 3 different templates, 5 pages each. Save your original template, save as, for however many copies you're going to be breaking that template out into. Then on each copy, you're going to right click and you're going to click on remove a page. Now, this is set up to censor the page that you are currently on. So in this particular case, I do not want to remove page 1. I want to remove page 2, direct deposit. So I'm going to click my cursor to open up this dialog box on page 2, remove page 2, and it's going to ask you to make sure, are you sure you want to remove page 2? Yes, I am. And now you can see my template only has 2 pages, my first page and my W-2. Make sure you click Save. And now your template has let's try that again. Remove page. Let's refresh. So there's our W-2, there's our direct deposit. I'm going to remove the W-2. Page 2 was removed. Great. Save. And there's our direct deposit. So the W-2 form is now gone. So that is how you would go about either reducing the number of pages that you have in your current template, if that current template has changed, or if you have a template that maybe now you need to split out into multiple templates. And then circling back, so I made this change. My current template is now 2 pages. And someone has decided that, nope, we need to go back and we also need to have that W-2. So now I can go in and click on, you have to recall which template it was, but I know in this case it was template 2 that had all 3 pages. So I'm going to click restore. Reloading now. And now if I scroll down, you can see it's pulled back up that version 2, that had all 3 pages in the template. So that is covering this menu box, how you can utilize it to manage the templates that you have within your library, modify them when things within your organization change,